against voter abuse.
And are you their legal representation?
I am one of the founding members.
Mr. Pena, tell me a little bit about what this group aims to do by being out here.
Today we are seeing the growth of a cancer in our voting process. The citizens of Cameron County are being manipulated. Senior citizens are being trucked to the voting places and being forced to vote for candidates by the drivers. We're seeing a growth in the mail-in ballot where people go out and actually not only solicit the vote but actually pick up the ballots, which is illegal in the state of Texas. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to educate people, make sure that they vote, because we do want people to vote, but we just want to make sure that people's votes are not manipulated.
Mr. Pena, to use the word cancer, that's a pretty serious word. Why do you use that word to describe this?
Well, because we're seeing an exponential growth in what we believe is to be voter fraud in Cameron County. We've seen the growth in the mail-in ballots to a minor number in the primaries to over 500 in the runoff, which is unusual to begin with. And so what we're asking is we're asking the Attorney General, the Rangers, the federal officials who are charged with monitoring these things to come in and make sure that they stop this illegal activity.
And very serious claims. How do you guys have proof that this is actually happening?
We have individuals who are willing to sign affidavits. We have prior statements from other individuals who were voters who actually were solicited and whose votes were actually picked up and mailed in. And that's against the election code, and it is a crime to do that.
How are the elderly being forced to get on this van and come over here? Who is forcing them? And I mean, what is the, I guess, the threat?
Okay, there's certain candidates who have for years manipulated the system, who have a number of individuals who are helping them. They go to adult adult daycare centers. They tell people they need to get on the van, that they don't have a choice. They herd them in there. They bring them over here to the early voting places, and rather than allowing them to go in, they bring the ballots out to them themselves, and under the direction of the driver or somebody there, illegally tell them who to vote for.
But wouldn't that be illegal, and wouldn't that be something that would be caught by the people monitoring the polls?
You would think. The problem that we have is people are not properly trained. They're understaffed. They don't have the right credentials. And then when they do that, when they do try to enforce that, the candidates or their workers go berserk, and they threaten them, they call the police, they do all kinds of things to intimidate the people who are trying to enforce the law.
What do you think is the roots of the problem? Because we typically hear that Cameron County has a very low, the valley in general, very low voter turnout. What do you think is the root of the problem that's making that happen and making the fraud and all of that go on?
Well, this runoff has seen a large turnout. We're very happy. We have about 10,000 early voters, but the problem goes back to the number one thing, and that's greed. People run for these offices for the money, the power, the authority that they're able to manipulate and be able to use, and not for the community. And that's where the problem rises, is that we don't have candidates that truly are wanting to do the right thing for their communities.
And tell me about the campaign itself, or the protest itself. It says "Respect my vote." Have you guys been doing this all along for several years? Is this the first time you guys do this, or?
We've been at this now for 2 election cycles. This is our 2nd election cycle. We organized several years ago. We maintain a year-round profile. One of the main things that we try to do is to educate people on how to vote and make sure that their vote isn't stolen from them.
About how many members do you guys have?
That's hard to tell. Maybe a couple of hundred at least.
Yes,
yeah.
active members who actually are working and researching and talking to people. We have about 40 or 50. And then people who support us and keep up with what we're doing and encourage us, we have about 400, 450 Facebook members.
And during the early voting, during election day, do you guys go around to the polls and I guess
we try to make sure we're available for people who have questions about what is legal and illegal in the electoral process. We're there. We're here to request information from the elections office on how they do things, who they assign assigned to work at these polling locations as election judges and election workers, we want to make sure that qualified people, according to the law, are being assigned to these positions. And right now, it doesn't seem to be the case.
Pena, what conversations or talks have you guys had with Mr. Ortiz? And with that question also, he did request inspectors to come down and just look at the whole process and kind of watch everything that happens, including that. What has his response been?
There's a couple of things in regards to the elections administrator. Number one, they're sorely understaffed, sorely undertrained, and probably under budgeted. And what we need to do is we need to put into place a strong leadership in that office to be able to make sure that the election code is enforced. And we think that asking for monitors to come down is an excellent idea. They should have been here the first day of early voting, because during the early voting process is when many of these problems really occur.
Any kind of website or anything that you guys...
We have Facebook page. Yes.
Or
it's Citizens Against Voter Abuse, Cameron County, Texas.
Do you guys have flyers or papers in those bags that I can take?
Yes.
¿Cómo está?
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Daisy. It's good seeing you again.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, I can tell you
This is
you're
our-
hardened up a little bit.